Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yanique Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, our guest is Jeremie Kubicek. Jeremie is a powerful communicator, serial entrepreneur, and content builder. He creates content used by some of the largest companies around the globe, found in the books he has authored. His brand new book, releasing October 2025, The Voice-Driven Leader, as well as his other books like The 100X Leader, 5 Voices, 5 Gears, the national bestseller, Making Your Leadership Come Alive, and the Peace Index. The Communication Code, co-authored with his business partner, debuted in November 2023 as Amazon's top new release in business management. Jeremie is the co-founder of Giant, a company that certifies coaches and consultants that serve companies and their employees. Jeremie has started over 25 companies while living in Oklahoma City, Moscow, Atlanta, and London. So, without further delay, sit back, plug your earphones in, and let's jump right into this conversation with Jeremie. Welcome, Jeremie.
Oh, so good to be with you. Thank you.
Awesome. Now, we always like to give our guests an opportunity to share in their own words a little bit about their journey. So if you could just take a few minutes and just share with our audience a little bit about how you got from where you were to where you are today.
Yeah, so I am an entrepreneur, and I've really figured out what the core functions of entrepreneurialism is in businesses. 3 kind of broad categories. There's the business plan, there's the financial plan, and there's the people plan. And I, over the years, spent a lot of time on the financial plan and the business plan. And I always realized the people plan would screw up. The people would mess up the business and the financial plan. Mm-hmm. And so I started doubling down on people and people development. And I realized that people can be an asset if you understand who they are, what you're trying to, and if you can share clearly your expectations for what you want, then they can become thriving individuals. So I just have doubled down my entire career on fighting for the highest possible good of people and helping them become assets and not treated as liabilities.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, in your bio, I mentioned that your most recent book that was published in this month, October 2025.
Yeah, yesterday, actually.
Yesterday. Oh, wow.
Yes.
So I'm talking to you at a good time.
Yes.
The Voice-Driven Leader. Could you tell our audience a little bit about that book that you've published?
Yeah.
Who is it geared towards? What's the message that you're trying to get across?
Yeah. So the big idea is the most important person inside an organization is the people who lead people, the person who leads another person. They're the team leader. And if the team leader is healthy, that team will be healthy. So we call the team leader the Sherpa. They're climbing and helping people climb. And so what the whole book is about is knowing what your voice is, who you are, what your personality and wiring is, and then knowing who you lead. And the idea is if you can know who they are and lead them based on who they are, then you'll be more effective. And then we create an actual roadmap. It's an actual customer or employee journey and a development plan. So you basically know who you are, who they are, and where are they on their journey inside the organization. So it is a system, and it's very detailed. And so it's designed for anyone who leads another person. It's an amazing resource to help them figure out how to actually lead people where they want them to go.
All right, brilliant. Now, in the book, are there like maybe 2 or 3 overarching tenets that the book kind of focuses on? If we have listeners that are tapping into this episode and they're leaders in their organization, especially if they're transitioning from being just a regular team member and now they're in the role of leading a person who, yesterday that person was just their coworker, that person and them were on the same level. What would you say are some traits that they would need to embody to transition,
Yes.
in that new role?
Yeah. So the first one is literally, I use the analogy of like learning a language. So if I'm in France and I am in Paris and I order a cup of coffee like I'm from Texas or New York, like, hey, black coffee now, like that's not going to go well. But if I go, bonjour, un café, s'il vous plaît, if I say it in their language, then it's going to connect better. So the first principle is like knowing and understand who's on the other side of you and how to speak their language, not force them to speak your language. Mm-hmm. So that's one key component. The second one is truly knowing where are you trying to develop them? What are the expectations, and how do you onboard them? And how do you get them all the way through conscious competent and past this thing called a pit of despair? And the pit of despair is when they're consciously incompetent, when they realize they don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
How do you actually get them to the place where you want them to go? And that's really important to know how they're wired, what their voice is. And if you know that, you can know their stress behavior, you can know what happens to them and keep them out of the pit. And then the last thing is like actually having a vision for them and building a real development plan for your people.
Yeah.
And then you show them what the plan is and they see the roadmap. It's almost like a Monopoly board game. We're right here, then we're over here, now we're down here, and I want you over here. But if you can visually show them, and so the whole book is a visual experience that shows them the roadmap of the employee journey, and then how to develop them based on who you are and who they are. So it's really, really, and then we weave in something we built. It's called the Five Voices AI, and we've trained AI to literally know who you are and who they are. So you just like, how do I send this email to them? And it'll change it based on their personality, and it'll actually write the email to their personality versus your personality, or build a development plan based on their personality. So it's very powerful.
Wow. Communication has really evolved. When you look
It's
on
amazing.
how people communicate like 10, 15 years ago to how they're communicating now. Especially even in the informal written platforms like WhatsApp or even iMessage, just especially the generational communication. Like yesterday, I was listening to a video on Instagram, and this lady made a post that she found out that when you give somebody a thumbs up, it's actually considered passive aggressive to Gen Zs. I didn't even know that. I was like, what? Like, so,
Interesting.
even in the non-verbal, just the
Yeah, yeah,
emojis, they carry some message that
yeah, yeah,
if you don't really know what it is, you could actually be sending a signal that wasn't your intention.
yeah, yeah. Fascinating.
Brilliant. All right. So we spoke a little bit about your new book. Now, is there anything that's going on in your life right now, Jeremy, that you're really excited about? Either something you're working on to develop yourself or your people?
Yeah, I am actually. I have, so again, I've had the book, but the idea is I've been working on this concept of peace is power. And when you're not at peace, then you don't have the power. You won't empower people. You might overpower people.
Hmm.
And what I've noticed is that you have a lot of jargon, a lot of books, and everyone tells people what to do. But at the core of you internally, if you're off, then you can't give what you don't possess. So if it's a customer experience, but you aren't at peace, you're not going to give a full customer experience. It's going to
Hmm.
be platitudes. It's not going to be authentic. So I spend a lot of time working on myself every morning. I call myself up into who I am. I know my identity. I know I work on my mindset. I do the things because I'm in the business of helping people come alive. I'm in the business of helping develop people, which
Hmm.
means I have to be alive. And if I'm
Yeah.
not alive, it just shows up as transaction.
Hmm. Brilliant, brilliant. All right. Now, Jeremy, could you also share with our listeners what's the one online resource tool, website, or application that you absolutely can't live without in your business?
Okay, so outside of like Slack and really basic things, I use it's actually our own tool. I mentioned to you, but we have the Five Voices app, and it's actually it's our operating system, but I use it every day with every interaction. It's basically like our own Chat GPT, but in an app format. So
Mhm.
every single day, I'm literally asking it questions, and I'm working on the dynamics of like, hey, I'm meeting with my son. I did it this morning. My son has a business. I was working, he was asking for some help. So I took the app. I go up here to my son, Will, and I type in my questions. I'm like, how do I convey this to my guardian pioneer son if I'm a connector? And it gave me brilliant insights that I would have missed. And so the other day, yesterday, I did a tone check. I got this email from a pioneer, and I put it into Five Voices AI, and it knows them and it knew me. And I go, how should I read this? Am I reading this wrong? Am I overthinking? And I was like, you might be overthinking. There's nothing here. He was probably rushing. And it was like, it was brilliant as it relates to relational dynamics and interpersonal communication. So I use it, again, every single day in my life, which is basically we trained our own GPT and we made it available to people. But it's the Five Voices app is the most helpful thing that I use daily.
Oh, nice. And that's available to the general public, right? Five
Yeah,
Voices
that's
app?
just that's just go to the App Store and it's the Five Voices.
Perfect. All right. Thank you for sharing. Now, could you also share with our listeners maybe one or two books that you've read recently? Could be even a book that you read a very long time ago, but it
Mhm.
had a very good impact or a positive impact on you. Do you have one
Yeah.
or two of those you could share with
Yeah.
us?
So I actually have been reading Unreasonable Hospitality lately. It was been really fascinating because it's very consistent with what we kind of teach and preach. But the concept is what I love about it, what I took away from it was the idea of journeys, that people are on a journey and customer experience is a journey. So I asked three questions like what who is the avatar? Who are we after? What's their pain?
Hmm.
And how can I solve that? How can I make their experience amazing? And so I really loved it because it took me on this track of like thinking about employee journeys, customer journey. And when I'm a customer at wherever, what journey am I on? Well, I'm hungry and I want something to eat. Okay, why did I choose this restaurant over that restaurant? Okay, was it the food? Was it the service? Was it the experience? Was it the ambiance? What time of day was it? Well, it was fast food and it was a quick lunch versus a sit down experience versus a
Right.
date night, right? So what I love about it is just it is putting it all together. Next week I'm going to be going to Cinnamon Shore. It's this really cool I don't know how to describe it, community in Texas in Port Aransas, Texas, and it's 500 houses, beach houses, all in this beach. But they have created this like experiential resort, and when you come in, it's like it just feels so good. It feels like but they're asking me to help them go to the next level. So I'm weaving in employee journeys, employee development with the customer experience.
Hmm.
So I'm using unreasonable hospitality on the customer side, but I'm using my work on the employee side and I'm putting them together. And the idea is if the team leader isn't at peace, then they'll have a hard time implementing the true experience. But it's
Hmm.
only so the analogy I use is the fountain. And I go, what do fountains do? And they spray water. It's ambiance. They flow. I'm like,
Right.
yeah. So why do people come to a fountain? They come for ambiance, for refreshment, for the sound. Okay, great. But what if the water's brown, or what if it's not working? People walk around it. It's a waste of space.
Yeah.
And the message is yes, right. Be a good fountain. Your job is to be a good fountain. So if you're not overflowing and if you're not at peace, you won't overflow. There's no water that comes out. There's no power. And so then you have to take all that power to work on the fountain. It's broken.
Hmm.
So the idea in customer experiences is actually that the employee experience, employee and the team leader in particular, they have to be alive or they're not going to overflow. You can
Yeah.
do all these strategies on customer experience, but if you don't have good team leaders, they could rob that experience. They could take away from the very business plan that you put
Hmm.
in place. Does that make sense?
Agreed. Yes, it does. It does. And one of the things that came to mind when you were speaking just now is it all starts with, as you said, the team leader. But, even outside of, if you strip that title away from the person, anyone that's doing a job, it starts with them individually.
That's right.
That's what I got from what you said.
That's
Like, if
right.
you don't fix you, it
That's
starts
right.
with you, then everything you do will be impacted by what's going on within you. So if you're in turmoil, if you're, having a lot of confusion or anxiety within yourself, it manifests in different ways, through your body language, through your tone, just through how you
It's
answer people.
a vibe. It's like what
Yeah.
vibe is coming off of you, right?
Yeah.
And because we all have been in that place with that barista or that service person who's just they're in their head, they're mad, there's something that happened. What here? Okay. And that transaction, that one person actually affected that brand that day,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so hard. So then the managers, the Sherpa, they're the ones who can call that person up, and like, hey, come on, Tiffany, let's go, and like call them up into their, but it is, to your point, it is a personal journey, because
Yeah.
if you're not at peace, you won't have power, you won't have the right vibes going out, and therefore no one would refer you. If you're not at peace, other people won't refer you. But when you're at peace and then you exhibit this vibe and this power and you display it to help someone else, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. This place is great. And they'll tie that one person's vibe to that brand that day.
That's true. That's true. It's
Fascinating.
yeah, it's funny you said that as well too, because I was in Jamaica last month for a consultancy project, and first time I'm visiting this client's location. And the security guard, after she directed me where to park, she came to the vehicle and, like escorted me in. But before she escorted me in, she started singing. And I was a little taken aback. I was like, okay, what's happening here? Why is she singing? But it was like a welcome. And I've never been anywhere before that the security guard sings to me. It was just so different, so warm. I mean, I've spoken about it so many times. I asked her her name. I've never forgotten it. It was just so refreshing, because they're the first point of contact. And
Mhm.
imagine if every interaction you have with an organization could feel like that interaction I had, with Daphne that day. It was
Because
just
she
really,
was at
really good.
peace.
Yeah.
And so I have this one book of mine called the Peace Index, and it's a really really helpful tool. It basically breaks it down in 5 areas. It says 1 through 100, 100 being the highest. How's your purpose right now? How much
Yeah.
of what you're doing matches who you are?
Hmm.
Second, it goes into people. How at peace are you with the top 10 people you're around every day? Then the next one is personal health, mental, physical, spiritual, holistically. How are you? Where's your peace? Um, Next one is provision. How at peace are you with what you're earning? Do you have enough to live the life you're living or not? And then the
Hmm.
last one's place. And so your spaces and your places that you live and work in. And those collectively, if I'm a 72 here, 68 here, 100 here, if all of them, add them all together, divide by 5, and you get the peace index that's over your head.
Yeah.
And so if you're not at peace, so it might be a mother-in-law issue, it might be a neighbor, it might be your car's broken down, it might be your
Yeah.
child. But if you don't know what it is, you won't know what to work on.
Yeah.
And so the game that we always say is like, don't let someone else's lack of peace affect your level of peace.
Yes. Yes.
So
100%.
you've got to do work on yourself to be resilient. And then once you're alive and fully alive, then you're free. You have power to reset other people's peace. A negative person can pull someone down, but a positive person can call people up too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that peace and that power are really important for the individual to be able to manage the experience of the customer. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yes, it does. Totally. Totally makes sense. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Now, Jeremy, before we wrap our episodes up, right, we always like to ask our guests, do you have a quote or a saying that during times of adversity or challenge, you'll tend to revert to this quote? If for any reason you get derailed or you get off track, the quote kind of helps to get you back on track.
Okay. So here's what I do. In the evening, if I have had something and it won't go away and it sticks to me, before I
Mm-hmm.
go to bed, I know my conscious is about to turn off, but my subconscious is still on at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I choose a phrase or a word or a quote over me almost every night. So last week I was just feeling pressure on a bunch of things. So I just at night, I went to bed saying, choose joy, choose joy, choose joy, choose joy. And I was choosing joy. I woke up in the morning and the first thing I thought of was choose joy. And I was like, yeah, all night, choose joy was going through my subconscious. So when I woke up in the morning, I felt pretty light. I'm like, hey, choose joy. It was like it set my mind for the next day.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I will say often. And then another one I will do is I'll just say call up, not out. Call up, not out. When I'm looking to someone else to not be petty or frustrated, I'm like calling you up, I'm not calling you out.
Right.
And by doing that, it makes me think differently to how do I help someone versus sometimes what I want to say to them. Like make them better. Don't feel like punishment.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, Jeremy, our listeners would have tapped into this episode and they're quite intrigued with your journey, your new book, and all the wonderful things that your organization is doing. Where can they connect with you or find you online?
Well, so you can go to Amazon for the Voice Driven Leader book or the Peace Index book or any of my other books. Or you can go to jeremiekubicek.com. Now that's hard to spell, so you may have to put it in the show notes
We
for me.
will.
But it's Jeremie, JeremieKubicek.com. And that gives all the details about me.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for taking time out of your very busy schedule and coming on our podcast, sharing your insights on your new book, The Voice-Driven Leader, as well as the tenets that the book focuses on, the importance of the employee journey, the importance for people to be at peace, for everything to start with you before you are able to abundantly flow and pour into the interactions or the experiences of others. I thought it was a very powerful message. And, Michael Jackson says it all the time in his song, let's look at the man in the mirror. Everything starts with us. And I think sometimes as human beings, we fail to remember and practice that very small detail, but it has such a great impact. So I think it was a
Absolutely.
really powerful message. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, just want to remind our listeners that you can follow us on X at Navigating CX and feel free to join our private Facebook group, Navigating the Customer Experience Community. Until next time, I'm your host, Yanique Grant.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.